Hey there, comic book friends and fiends. It's Rob here in front of the Great Wall of Comics, and today let's talk about the official HeroesCon haul. All right, so HeroesCon. Woo! I know I shot a video live, and not everybody goes back and watches live. So this is the official total haul because that live video wasn't everything in the haul, just most of the stuff in the haul. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to unbox what it is I got, or not unbox, but show off what it is I've got in the order in which I picked it up, and then we'll roll some footage so you can see a little bit of what went on with the con and wrap it up there. All right, so first off, guys, HeroesCon, amazing success. Community members galore. We had a ton. I'm not going to try to name them off because I will forget somebody and alienate somebody. But special shout out to my man DJ Links, who hooked us up Thursday night with the private screening of The Flash. The theater was, well, it was the one that was available for us on the opening night for a private screening. But hey, it was cool nonetheless. Everybody had a blast. Then, of course, Friday night we had also a community hangout at World of Beers after the first day of the con. We had a bunch of YouTubers show up there. A huge spread that I put together for everybody. Everybody contributed, and we had ourselves a blast hanging out, just chilling, drinking some beer, having some food, and gabbing away. Other than that, normal stuff people got in small groups, breakfasts, dinner, lunches here and there, hanging out after hours in the hotel, shooting the shiznat. So, going to this con, I decided, I came in with a list. There were a couple books that I wanted to look for. Specifically, I was going to look for an Avengers 4 and a Captain America 117 and a New Mutants 98. Those were three books that I had specifically in my mind targeted to try to look for. I'd been looking for them ahead of the con and thought that maybe at the con I would get better pricing or at least not have to pay sales tax. So I was not really looking for my two missing Spider-Man books, but we did take a look at them when we were there. Nothing fit the needs we wanted. So first thing I did Friday, as I usually do every Friday, first day of the con, multi-day con, is I go and I hit up Artist Alley. I knocked out a few of the signatures I wanted, especially like Scotty Young, who had a line, and then I went and got some commissions set up. So one of those commissions jumped on early on was this Randy Everlin piece, and I picked up a Joe Stanton piece, and I'm realizing right now I don't have this Chris Campana piece I picked up, but there were a couple others I did which aren't ready yet, so they're going to be on the way. Those will be future videos. Not going to go through all the books I got signed because who cares? That's not the cool stuff. All right, so an hour after going through and getting the commissions going and getting signatures, I went big game hunting. I looked at the con, and you'll see from the footage, just too much. I thought about going methodically, looking through bins and all this other stuff, but there was just way too much. There's over 100 comic book vendors there easily. So I decided, first and foremost, I knew the target books I was looking at. I had them fresh in my head of what the pricing kind of went for and the grades I was looking. Let's go big game hunting. Booth to booth, checking out the walls, looking what's on the walls, looking for the books I'm targeting, checking out what's the price, taking mental notes of that pricing so that I can come back around as need be. About halfway through my methodical search, I settled on the first book that I picked up at HeroesCon, and that was Captain America's first Silver Age appearance, Avengers number 4. Now, I was targeting a 2.5 to a 3.5, knowing that I was going to probably have to spend somewhere between $800 to $1,100 for that grade based on the current market. This book, when I went to this vendor, he had 4 copies, a 2.5, a 4, and then some higher grade ones. And I asked him, I said, "What's the price on the 2.5?" And he goes, $650. And I must have made a pretty weird face because he goes, "It's because it has slightly brittle pages." And I was like, Can I see it? Because 650 is well below the range I expected to have to pay, and I'm okay for a display book for slightly brittle pages once it's in the slab like this. So, especially if I can save that much money. So I'm looking at the book. I fall in love with it. It looks beautiful. I ask him about the 4.0. He wants 15. I asked him how much for him to make me, how much would he drop the 4.0 to make me have to buy that book instead of this one? He only came down $100, so I went with the 2.5, especially since the 4 had some tape pull right across Cap's thigh. 2.5, I'm happy. I ended up paying $600. Boom. Super dope book for pickup number 1. Now, the next book I had targeted in my mind was Captain America 117. I ended up going back down the aisle to a couple vendors where I knew they had them. I was targeting ideally about a 7, 7.5, expecting that to have to pay somewhere about $500. Turns out that well, there were probably some in that range I could have found. I ended up finding this one right here in an 8.0. This guy was asking $800 for it. But what I was able to do was I had taken a book with me that was a World's Finest issue 34, I think it is. It had Batman Robin on midget cars, knowing that I was in next to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Race cars play big there. I showed it to the guy, told him what I wanted I wanted to get $550 to $600. Well, I told him $550. What am I saying? I wanted 600 in my mind, but for some reason 550 came out of my mouth to him. He said he would pay me the 550 because he loved it and was taking it home with him. Then we got this down to 800, so I paid $250 essentially and gave up a slab that the comic book in that slab I had only paid $200 for the book raw. So all told, I'm in about $450 for an 8.0 Captain America 117. I'm super stoked with that. Of course, first appearance of Sam Wilson, the Falcon. All right, so I continue to walk around through the booths. I'm hitting, I hit one booth, I think it was TNT Comics. I'm looking through their slabs. They have a bin full of slabs. And while I'm looking at their wall, I'm kind of looking at the wall, flipping through this, back and forth. And bang, this jumps out at me. He's got a Commandi, Last Boy on Earth, issue number 1, tagged at $100. And I'm like, dude, $100? That seems cheap. And sure enough, I look it up, and it is. It's not, I mean, it doesn't garner a lot of money, but it was under FMV. And I'm like, well, I like that. First appearance of Commandi. It's a Jack Kirby greatness. Let me hold on to that for a second. I continued to look through the wall, and another book jumped out at me that I was knowing in my back of my mind that I would like to pick up, although I didn't have it hard on my radar. A book that has jumped up recently, since especially with the change in DC, with the change with the Justice League and everything, and that is DC Comics Presents. Number 26. This is the first appearance of the new Teen Titans. First appearance of Cyborg. First appearance of Raven. First appearance of Starfire in this book. So this book, they had this tagged. This is estimated. They had it estimated as a 9.0 to 9.4, and they have it tagged. And it's a newsstand. They had it tagged at 250. I bundled it with this one. And I think the lady I was talking to didn't understand math because I got them for $200. Bang. All right. What followed was a lot of looking at various different things, going, okay, what's next? I was looking for a big book. I was looking at Hulk 181s. I was still looking for my New Mutants 98. I was targeting like a 9.4, expecting to have to pay about $400 for one. Unfortunately, everybody there, either in that grade, had newsstands and valued it. Seemed to think that a newsstand was somehow worth $800+ and I wasn't paying that, or they had low grades that I didn't want, or 9.8s, which I again didn't want to pay that price for. So I ended up passing on the New Mutants 98. I was looking at some Hulk 181s. There was a couple Raws there that were potentials. I then I found myself in a booth looking at Fantastic Four 48 and 49. I was talking to a gentleman that was talking about a bundle of these two books, raw, for 2K. I think he was asking individually, the totals would have added to be about 2,500. He was willing to come down to 2K if I bought them both. And I was really, really interested in that because you could pick up First Galactus, First Silver Surfer. Those are major keys, and that's what I was looking to do, is pick up some major keys. I decided to hold on and wait a moment and walk around the corner. And that's when I spotted this book, Giant Size X-Men #1. Guy had it tagged at $1,500. Right off the bat, $1,500 jumps out to me as a really good price for a Giant Size X-Men, especially if it's in decent condition and it's complete, because that's a book that's huge. Now, I previously had said I wasn't super interested in a Giant Size X-Men, but again, I've changed my mind on what I wanted to collect. I wanted to get some more major keys or significant books that especially appeal to people of my demographic. And for us, the children who, Generation X, Giant Size X-Men is huge. And for millennials as well, because this was the X team essentially. So started looking at the book. The book's complete. It has a couple color breaking creases that's going to cap out the book at hitting maybe a 4.5 to a 5 at the peak end of it once it's all said and done. But talk to the guy down, $1,200. I pick up a Giant Size X-Men. So that now takes those Fantastic Fours off the table because I don't have. I'm running low, starting to run low on cash, as you can imagine. But there was another book that I had seen earlier in the day that was a major key at a credible price that now I said I need to go back to where I started and see if that book is still there. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it was a Amazing Spider-Man 129 that the guy had tagged at $550. And I questioned him. Again, I gave him one of those looks like, $550, is that right? What's wrong with it? Is it the original? Yes, it's the original. It's complete. It has some water stains here and over here, and then some more on the back. But so it's not a high grade book. But at $550 for a book that's probably in this condition, it's it's got some crack. It's probably a 4. Doing a quick look at it, 4, 5. A book like this, it's under FMV. So I'm thinking to myself, hey, let's take a look. So I talked to the guy down. Next thing you know, $470. I have Amazing Spider-Man 129, which means I got myself 2 major keys, and I was under the 2K I was going to be for the 2 Fantastic Four books. Frickin' A. Amazing. My day is done. This is Friday still. I'm thinking my day is done. And then I'm walking over to Short Boxed booth because I have to give, I promised I was going to give Gene, from the CEO of the company, I was going to give him one of the OnlySlabs lanyards that we were passing out. We had these badge lanyards. It says OnlySlabs, features myself and Chris, the comic book vet, was giving these out to folks. And so I go over there and I'm talking to Kevin, who's online sales community manager, while Gene is there, and I spot an Avengers #1, and it looks good. I mean, now don't get me wrong, this looks bad, but the main art area looks fabulous. It's at a 2.0, it's in my range, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, that's beautiful. They're asking $2,200 for it. I'm thinking to myself, that is a good price. It seemed in my head. I do a little research. Sure enough, it's right in the neighborhood of where this book has been selling recently. So we talk. Kevin comes down to, or ask him, I say, hey, is this a commission book or a consignment book, or is this one of your guys' books? They said it was one of theirs. They came down to 2K. Next thing you know, I'm walking out with Avengers #1. Now, I should preface this, because I'm being very transparent with the amount of money I spent there, and you guys can be doing your math. I had been saving up for this con for a while. This was my go-to thing. I turned around and I had made some sales of some other books. I brought a book to trade, or a couple of books to trade, and I sold there on site. So it's not like I'm trying to say like I've run like tons of money. This is I spent a lot, but this was all budgeted, which is good. So Avengers #1. Bam! All of a sudden, now this is bonus book. I wasn't looking for this book. It wasn't on my radar, but now I can say I own a copy of Avengers 1. Fabulous. That was it. Friday, done. Put a stake in it. So in my mind, I've done my big game hunting. I still have some money left, and it is time for Saturday. Saturday, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to do bin diving. There's so many bins all around that place. And I thought, let's go. Go to the first booth I go to. I'm flipping through the bins, and all of a sudden a book jumps out at me that I have been looking for years. I mean, 2 years. I've pretty much been looking for this book. I've seen copies. They're either trashed and want a lot of money for the trashed copies, or they're trashed and they're cheap, but I don't want a trashed book, vice versa. So I pick it up. He wants $300 for the book, Strange Worlds, number 19. Now, I got caught up, and this is not one of the ones where I got a great deal. I got caught up in the action on this one. I overpaid a little bit for this book. I did at least get him to throw in a few copies of Space War. These are just fun Charlton books. So I've got them to throw those in. All told, I still got on this one a little bit, but I wanted the book, and I got blinded by I want the book. I realized I don't have one book that I grabbed here in my stack. I'll grab it off the wall real quick. This was a book that Comic Man Andy had gone around and told us all he wanted to dip his toes into the Golden Age books. He was specifically looking for U.S. Marines. I had seen one at a booth. When I saw him later, I grabbed him, said, hey, come with me. Showed him the books. He fell in love, wanted to get a discount while I'm there. I stumble across this Planet Comics book. They have it tagged at $350. They got his book tagged at $250. I grab both slabs, go to the guy, say, hey, you want to do $500 for the 2 slabs? After humming and hawing, he finally acquiesced. We each save $50 off our books. Now, the funny thing is, I've since then taken a look and looked up this book. Well, I may have gotten beat on that Strange Worlds. This book was a great price at what he was asking for. So this is a fair market value on this book. It's like $900. At least that's what it was when I looked it up the other day. And that is a lot less than the $350 he was asking. And then I got it for $300. So I'm super stoked. These Planet Comic books, I mean, usually in a good presenting book like this, $300, it's not very often you're going to find a book, a Planet Comics in that price. All right. Saturday goes. I'm done picking books. It's time for Sunday. Now, Sunday, Saturday I knocked off early. I didn't go around looking for much stuff. Tried to get a few more signatures done. Bam. Sunday, I'm going in there just to pick up commissions. So that's my goal. I'm just going in there to pick up commissions. I'm not going in there to buy. I didn't bring any of my boxes and stuff with me. But while I'm walking around with Mark from Legion of Comics, we come by a booth that has another book that I've looked at several times in the past, and that's this one, Lost Worlds. This guy, he's got a $250 price tag on this book that he's asking for. It's the first in the series, and I sat there and I'm looking at it and I don't know. It looks nice. I mean, I like it. It's all that, but $250. Mark sits there and goes, hey, my man, what's the best you can do? The guy says, I don't know. Give me a number. So Mark goes, $10. You want to meet in the middle? I will remember that, Mark, because that was phenomenal. So the guy's humming and hawing, and finally, I just simply say, hey, I tell you what, I'll give you 175 for the book. Otherwise, I'm not interested. He decides that he'll call his brother, who's the book belongs to. His brother gets on the phone, says, yeah, sure, why not? So I now own that Lost Worlds. Cool. Finally, very end of the day, as I'm getting ready to walk out the door, for some reason I stopped by a booth. I picked through a few loose books, low price, some Silver Age stuff. It's all stuff for the giveaway bin. I really shouldn't have bought anything for the giveaway bin because I had to haul it all the way across country. But in there was one book for me that I spotted that I needed, and that was this Harley and Ivy #1, because I had the Batman Harley and Ivy issues 2 and 3, so now I have issue 1. It's a 3-issue limited series. I got all of them. Picked this up for like $5. And that was the con. Holy Toledo. I mean, I won the con as far as I was concerned. I got even though I didn't get the New Mutants 98, I sought out to get. I got the Cap 117. I got the Avengers 4. As a bonus, we picked up the ASM or the Avengers 1, the ASM 129, and the GSX 1. That's it. I mean, if you told me that you pick up one of those books, you had a good con. Two of them, you had a great con. You pick up all those books, smoke if you got them, friends, because I enjoyed myself. HeroesCon 2024, very, very strong possibility that FatStax will be back. It's looking heavily that way. Anyways, if you guys just from that couldn't decide that you want to go to HeroesCon, I'm going to go ahead and roll some footage here from the con floor. I edited a lot of this, tried to condense this down to give you a semblance of the scope. I mean, this was a huge con. Lots of comic book vendors. Probably 90% of the sales floor was comic book vendors or comic book creators. The other 10%, a few different kinds of pop culture-y things, a few toys, video games, art, etc. But overwhelmingly, books galore, and as you'll see in some of these booths, just, man, comics, comics, comics.
events we just finished up. The basic puppet making technique hands-on workshop. And what we got next are basic leatherworking.
Couldn't fit on anything but the service level. So they left the screen.
Yeah, because like, right, really.
My man.
Well, guys, what did you think? I hope that you found that interesting. Hope to see you guys out at a con very, very soon. Until next time, remember, pick up what you want. Don't listen to anybody, even me. I'm just a fat man with a fat stack of comics and a fat opinion. Thanks for watching.